My cousin Georgie suggested this topic. The topic for the day is priorities. This is the concept that we all struggle with because in some cases we have tough decisions in how to choose to act. To simplify the process, I have a three-part delineation which I call the who, the what, and the why. The who refers to the particular people involved in the decision. It may only be ourselves, or it might be a family member or a group of family members. It might be a friend or a group of friends. It might involve acquaintances or even people whom we don't know. It could involve combinations of these classes or even large generic classes of people like our community, our state, our country, people around the world, etc. So even though I subscribe to the proposition that all are created equal, when it comes to making decisions in our limited capacities to perform or contribute, we must have priorities in regards to people. Depending upon the decision and the actions we take and its consequences, we must have priorities, especially if there's the potential for more people being involved in the action. If the action is when to brush our teeth, then this involves exclusively ourselves. But if the action is to meet two different people at the same time, then we must prioritize. We must weigh the consequences of making the choice. If we decided to donate a kidney and two people in the area need it and one is a brother, clearly that is an easy decision of who gets it from our point of view. But sometimes the choices are not as obvious. Next, there is the what, which refers to our choices of actions. Maybe one day we find that we have 10 personal items to tend to, but we only have time for 5 of them on that day. And the next free time we have is in, say, maybe a week. So we must carefully select the items that have the most negative consequences if we delay them and work on those. Let's consider a few other examples of choices. We might be offered to work a full day of overtime on a normal day off. We must choose to work overtime or not. We might be told that we need minor surgery, that we have to get in sometime in the next 6 months. So we have to decide if we should do this, have this surgery, and when to do it. We have options when to take our vacation or where to go to. We might want to contribute something to charity, but we are not sure what in terms of time or finances. So we often have plenty of choices involving the who and the what. So how do we decide? How do we prioritize? Well, we come to the why. There is a reason for each of our potential decisions. Some reasons are more reasonable and rational than others. Sometimes the decisions are easy. We are particularly like funds when the holidays are approaching. Our boss gives us the opportunity to work a full 8 hours of overtime at a time and a half, but on that day he offered it, we already have plans to hang out with our family and friends and watch some basketball and football. So what do? You reasonably decide to pass on the recreation and choose to work. But suppose you were supposed to take your sick spouse to the hospital for a procedure on that day that the overtime opportunity was offered. Then that might very well be the priority over working overtime. But you need the money too. The family needs the money. So maybe your wife's parent or brother can fill in for you. Or maybe it must be you. We choose by establishing a priority. We all have busy lives with lots of people in them and lots of responsibilities and some recreations. It's complex, but we have to be organized and analytic and rational. We must consider the who, the what, and the why, and all the alternatives and make our choices. So the lesson here is not to shortchange the process and be impulsive or negligent or foolish. Instead, we must be organized, thorough, analytic, practical, and thoughtful in making our choices. So we must learn to prioritize the who and the what, and we must consider the why and all the consequences of our choices to determine our priorities. We cannot be wishy-washy about this. We can't expect others to determine our priorities. We might have those who we consult with who could help us with the choices, and some may be authority figures. But we must be the final judge, and we must work especially hard to establish our priorities before acting, to give ourselves the best chance of success. Do not neglect this. Do you have your priorities in order? Please do. Thank you, Georgie, and thank you all.